Good morning, children. Welcome to the chemistry online class. Hope all are doing well. In the last class, we were discussing about chemical properties of metals and nonmetals. Today, we are going to learn about displacement reactions of metals. Children, what do you mean by displacement? Displacement means replacement. For example, consider a chemical reaction A plus BC gives AC plus B. Here A replaces B to give AC by a chemical reaction. This replacement is known as displacement, and these type of reactions are called displacement reactions. Moving on to the displacement reactions of metals. Let us start with an activity. Let us do an experiment to show the displacement reactions of metals. Take a beaker containing copper sulfate solution and place a piece of zinc strip into the solution. Keep it for some time. What happens? After 1 hour, we observe that the reaction precedes the solution changes from blue to colorless. In addition, a reddish brown solid is also formed on the surface of the zinc strip. So, what is the chemistry behind this? Let's take a look. This beaker contains copper sulfate solution. The solution is blue due to the presence of copper ions. When we add a piece of zinc into the solution, what will happen? Now, here there are two metals, zinc in free state and copper in copper sulfate solution. You already know about the reactivity series of metals. So, according to the reactivity series, we can see that zinc is more reactive than copper, because zinc is placed above the copper in the reactivity series. Here, zinc ions replace copper ions from the solution and copper is deposited on the strip. Over time, as the reaction proceeds, more zinc ions go into the solution and more copper atoms are being deposited on the surface of the metal strip. Let us do another activity. Take a beaker containing zinc sulfate solution. Place a piece of copper metal into the solution. Let's check what happens. Keep it for some time. We observe that there is no change in the solution. That means there is no reaction takes place between zinc sulfate and copper. Why is it so? Let's take a look. According to the reactivity series, copper is less reactive than zinc. So, here the less reactive copper cannot replace more reactive zinc from the solution. The reaction in which a more reactive metal displaces a less reactive metal from its solution is known as displacement reaction. Let us do more experiments on the basis of displacement reactions, which is in your textbook at page number 50. Take 5 beakers and name them as A, B, C, D and E. Take about 50 ml water in each beaker. Now add copper sulfate and few zinc granules in beaker A. In beaker B, add copper sulfate and an iron nail. In beaker C, add zinc sulfate and copper turnings. Add iron sulfate and copper turnings to beaker D. In beaker E, add zinc sulfate and an iron nail. Now keep the beakers undisturbed for some time. Observe what will happen in these 5 beakers. As we know, in beaker A, zinc replaces copper from its solution, because according to the reactivity series, zinc is more reactive than copper. So reaction can be written as zinc plus copper sulfate gives zinc sulfate plus copper. Similarly, in beaker B, according to the reactivity series, iron is more reactive than copper. So iron replaces copper from its solution to form iron sulfate solution. In beaker C, copper is less reactive than zinc, so there will be no reaction takes place as copper cannot replace zinc from its solution. In beaker D, copper is less reactive than iron, so copper cannot replace iron from its solution, therefore no reaction take place. In beaker E, iron is less reactive than zinc, so iron cannot replace zinc from its solution, hence no reaction takes place. So in general, we can say that a more reactive metal can displace a less reactive metal. A less reactive metal cannot displace a more reactive metal. So, by a displacement reaction, a more reactive metal can displace a less reactive metal, and a less reactive metal cannot displace a more reactive metal. Moving on to the last topic of this chapter, that is uses of metals and nonmetals. Children, you already know about the uses of metals and nonmetals on the basis of physical properties. We use many metals and nonmetals in our everyday life. Some of the examples are uses of metals and nonmetals. Uses of metals. As you know, copper is a good conductor of heat and electricity. It is used for making electric wires, utensils, coins, statues, etc. Because of the lustrous property of gold and silver, it is used for making jewelry, decorative items, photography, etc. Mercury is a liquid metal and is used in thermometer and barometer. Because of the ductile property of aluminium, it can be drawn into wires and can be used in the manufacture of planes. Lead is a metal and is used in batteries, X-ray machines, etc. Uses of non-metals. Oxygen is a non-metal and is essential for our life, which all living beings inhale during breathing. Nitrogen is used to make ammonia, explosive, fertilizer, pesticides, dyes, etc. Sulfur is a non-metal and is used as gunpowder, vulcanization of rubber, etc. Phosphorus is used in matchstick, rat poison, etc. Chlorine is a non-metal and is used as a bleaching agent. Chlorine is used for purifying water. Hydrogen is a non-metal. It is a reducing agent and is used as rocket fuel and welding purposes. The non-metal iodine is a purple colored solution which is applied on wounds as an antiseptic. Carbon in the form of graphite used in dry cells and in the form of diamond used in jewelry and cutting glasses. So our chapter was completed. In this chapter, we learned about physical and chemical properties of metals and nonmetals and some uses of metals and nonmetals. I hope all of you understood this lesson. Go through the lesson. I have attached a video URL, test question and notes. Copy the notes and attend the test question. I have also attached textual exercise of this chapter. Download it and study well. See you in the next class. Thank you, children.